All right, so what we're talking about today is last year, okay, we had our bell work talking about informal commands. Today we're going to be talking about formal commands. Formal and plural commands. The book has them both as singular and plural. In a sense, the title for being formal commands is a little misleading, since if they're talking about singular formal commands, what form is that talking about? Our informal commands is the to form. What's the plural formal? I mean, singular. Ustedes. Okay? Sorry, usted. Because you can't, if you're giving a command to somebody, you're talking to them. Do you ever give a command to somebody who you're not talking to? Doesn't work. Plural would be what form? Ustedes. Okay. Now, the reason why it's misleading is because these are known as formal commands, yet, everywhere in the world except Spain, ustedes is both formal and informal. So if I'm talking to a bunch of people I don't know, I'm going to use ustedes. If I'm talking to you, I'm using ustedes. Okay? Now, as with, when you learn the informal commands, we had two steps. Remember, conjugate it in the to form, drop the S. There's more steps to this, but they're not as complicated as you might think. I mean, they're more complicated than the informal commands, but what we're doing is basically step number one is to put it in a certain form. Anybody know which one? Which form? Yo. You conjugate it into the yo form. We're going to talk about that in a little bit and why we do that. There's a reason. Okay, our verb we're going to use is going to be what? Should we use hablar? Our standard. Okay. Hablar becomes what? Hablo. All right. Our next step. Any ideas? Drop. Drop the O. Okay. So then our hablo becomes hablo. Right there. Now this is where it kind of gets tricky. Okay? You're going to put an ending on it, but it's going to be known as what's called the opposite ending. If you think about AR verbs and ER-IR verbs as opposites of each other, this makes more sense. If it's an AR verb, so if it's an AR verb, is hablar an AR verb? Yeah. Yes. You add either E or EN. When will we add E? When it's singular. When will we add EN? When it's plural. So then we have our abu would become what? Become hable or hable. So if I say hable, who am I talking to? One person, and I'm speaking formally. If I say hablen, what am I saying? You guys, talk. Okay, I'm talking to more than one person. Now, if it's an ER or IR verb, what do you think you're going to use? Just think about this. And exactly. Add either A or AN. Okay. So an example, what verb do we want to use? What's an ER verb that we know? We don't know any. Okay, let's use aprender. I like that one. Becomes what? Okay, aprendo. Drop the O and add aprenda or aprenden. Okay, so that would be the example. Notice it's kind of the opposite ending. Okay, think of it that way. Now, With informal commands, when they're negative, they're totally different forms. With formal commands, you just put a no in front of it, so there's no weird other thing. If you want to say speak, hable. If you want to say don't speak, no hable. Or hablen or no hablen. You don't do it that way. In the informal commands, with the two forms, it would be like no, it would be habla or no hables. Remember that? It's not like this. This should just put a no in front of it. Okay, so that's the first part of it.